I am your favorite Foxywriter, Brandy Ackerley. I am an author, a Vtuber, and I live stream twice a week on Twitch and once a week on YouTube. And I am getting super busy. Oh, but I have to admit, I love it. Oh, I love it. It's slow going to gain followers. But I love it. I was reminded specifically of this when I started talking about the amazing live stream I had on Sunday to some family this week. For the first time since I started live streaming on YouTube, I went live, and out of nowhere, I had like 13 people watching and checking me out, and a lot of them were talking and chatting like with me. Now, to date, most of my videos have somewhere between like 5 to 10 views on them with like 1 to 3 likes each. I've had a few videos, of course, that have gotten way more, and some that have gotten way less. But as with everything, you're going to have outliers, and right now, 5 to 10 is a decent average for me. Sunday's episode has, at my time of recording this, nearly 300 views and 15 likes. It's a phenomenal growth and jump for me. I have never seen something like this, and from what I can tell, it's because I finally had YouTube start doing some advertising for me. By which I mean that they actually moved my live stream higher up on the recommended channel than they normally do, so people actually got to see that I was on. Okay, and while I haven't gotten a lot of new subscribers yet for it, it was really amazing to see, and I am so looking forward to next week now. I have decided that I am going to start putting my Twitch videos up on here too. Probably in 2-hour increments at a time, with uploads like 2 to 3 times a week, maybe? I think I might see just how far back I have shows and either start there or maybe just start from this week, because then I can actually like have a point where I'm like, okay, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back, sort of thing. Either way, I'm pretty excited about it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to me sort of jabber on, and let's just jump into the real meat and potatoes of today's episode. Last week, we had an amazing chapter. Kazunaha and Richard were attacked by a monster and had to fight for their lives. Things were going very badly for them, and Kazunaha had the wild idea of climbing the mast, hoping to drop the stalagmites on the monster to scare it, or maybe hurt it badly enough to leave them alone. The plan worked, and also brought down the entire roof on their heads. And it was left on a bit of a cliffhanger as to what happened to our heroes. Now, on with the story. Okay, now let me just pull up the book here. Perfect. What in the hell was that? Hannah's eyes were wide with a terror that mirrored Asashi's. She took a deeper breath to answer, and the stitch in her side lanced her chest. The ground had started shaking under their feet. Land shakes weren't uncommon, but then the ground 40 or so feet away had started falling. Whatever was pulling the ground down was coming towards them. They didn't stop running until Isashi had nearly doubled over from the pain. Behind them, the ground had finally stopped. Or that was what Isashi assumed, as the clouds of pale gray dust floating into the air looked less like mini explosions of dirt. A faint breeze brought a faint scent of rotting fish to her nose. Hana's breath was still coming loud and strained. Isashi opened her water bottle and drank some, almost coughing as she wheezed it down. The water helped her throat, but it was a bad idea for her stomach, which apparently thought the ground was still tossing them about. She took a deep breath. It would take time to recover, and she wasn't up to moving yet. She lifted the skin tiredly toward Hannah. The other hunter nodded gratefully and lifted it to her lips. She stopped, swearing. Oh, screw it all to hell. The tracks were in that mess. How the hell are we supposed to track it now? Isashi took another deep breath. This time, it didn't feel like her lungs or her side were going to explode. The monster isn't going to be our concern. If it has any intelligence, it will get the hell out of here for the next couple of days. Hana snorted. Yeah, but every one of the little ones will start running over here to find out what happened. It was true. The little ones tended towards stupidity. Running towards something that made the ground cave in wasn't intelligent. Misashi's lips strained to a flat line. If it was stupid for the monsters, what did that say about her? We need to go back there. Go where? Hana said. The entire area is gone. What if Kazunoha is there? We can't take for granted that she wasn't. Hana stared at her, looked back at the camp, and swore again. Isashi, I can understand your need to look for survivors, but something caused the ground to fall, Hana. And you think it's that slip of a girl? Next thing you'll be telling me is that you think she's also a mage. The thought of Kazunoha as a mage, one of the few people able to command the spirits, was a ludicrous idea. They were rare and astounding people to begin with. They tended to be the sort of people that got stories told about them, even before they became one. Well, we need to at least see if they were nearby. If they're out here alone without any of their supplies... Hana sighed. What are the odds of that? If they were close to it, we would have seen them. What if they got caught in it? Hana looked at her seriously. If they were, then they're probably dead. Isashi's jaw locked. She wouldn't believe that. Couldn't believe that. At least not yet. When she had some proof, or saw firsthand the damage, maybe. She wouldn't allow herself to let Himiko down. Her friend was counting on her to make things all right. She shook her head, trying to relax. Not yet. If they were caught in it, then we might be able to help. If we can't help, then the least we can do is assess the damage. Hana sighed. That is something we can do. We won't make it back before dark, though. But if they're hurt, then they'll either survive until morning, or they won't, Hana bit out. She looked away. I want them to be alive, too. But there's no way to get there and look around before night falls. And if other monsters came up from that hole... Even Isashi had to admit that fighting creatures in their native dark environment would be a death wish. And Hana was right. They wouldn't be able to search, certainly not safely. It wasn't as though walking around calling for her would work. I agree. Heading back into the dark won't be useful, but it isn't as though this hole leads to the world of the dead, Hana. There will only be regular creatures for us to deal with. The dead light the way for others, Hana whispered, touching at a small wooden pendant at her neck. She sighed. First things first. We need to find some dry tinder for a fire and fresh water. Do you want to set up the camp or find water? Water and tinder. It isn't a good season for leaves, but I should be able to find some bark that's dried. Hana nodded and turned, already opening her bag to unpack the tent. Isashi turned, hiding a frown. If Kazunoha hadn't been tricked out here by this Richard fellow, Isashi wouldn't need to be out here worrying about them. She wouldn't be worried about how Himiko would react if her sister had been too close to the sinkhole and hadn't made it. Sinkhole was entirely insufficient to describe the destruction she'd seen. She'd seen a house fall into a sinkhole once as a child. The aftermath had been horrible. A destroyed house with half a family coughing horribly, and the others lying dead on the ground, pulled out of a hole with half a house sticking out of it. The thing she remembered the most was the sickening scent that had hung in the air that night. She took a deep breath as she filled their canteens. There was a bit of that rank scent on the air, like rotten eggs or very stale air. Maybe it was a sinkhole. A large sinkhole. Either way, it was too big to be ignored, and the area would become dangerous for months. They also had to get the other hunters out here so that they could decide how they would deal with it. First, though, they had to make sure that Kazunoha was safe, and that Richard hadn't led her to her doom. Oh, okay, and that's it. That's it. Okay, let me just put the book down here. Mark the page. Perfect. Perfect! Oh, so here we are, back with Asashi and Hana. It's been a few weeks, so it was good to see them back again. It was also short and sweet, which is something that the last few chapters really haven't been. Actually, I find that Asashi's chapters tend to be a bit shorter in general. She's a bit of a simpler character. Not stupid at all, not at all, but she knows what she wants and she goes for it, like, doggedly. Which means that her chapters tend to have her as a very proactive protagonist. In fact, of all my characters, especially in book 1, I think she's the one that is almost never, like, sitting back, biting her lip, trying to figure out what she wants. She always has a goal and is trying to achieve it. I think that's also part of why she wears her heart on her sleeve, or maybe how she wears her heart on her sleeve. I think it makes her unique amongst my group of characters. Finally, I just want to let you know I released a new video last Saturday. That wasn't really expected. This is because I remembered that the new art program I bought to make emotes with has a really cool function that allows it to actually record all the time you spend drawing and working on a piece. So I was able to draw and then export it. It was really cool to have a video that I could actually post after spending all that time working on it. I love it. I hope you'll go and take a look. I was really proud of how it turned out. And that's where I'm going to end for this week. If you made it here, please like the video below and think about maybe subscribing for more content. More of the art videos are going to be coming up, as well as those weekly live streams. Thank you very much for coming, and I will see you next week. Bye!